Well, we're here again. It's another Wednesday. You're back this time.
I'm back.
After all the damage you did to yourself.
Yeah, they all healed.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's looking good. Gee, you healed quick. Welcome to another afternoon of wine evaluation, tasting, and, well, essentially general drinking. We got, so with me is Pat, our bar manager, who is the novice wine drinker, who's being educated rather rapidly. In fact, he's powering through, which is good. Dan, who I've worked with for over 10 years now, he's my knowledgeable one, and my name's Andrew, I'm a bit of a know-it-all. So essentially what we've been doing is working our way through the WSET exam situations. I'm teaching Pat how to write for wine evaluation, and talking about particularly the exams that he's going to face and the styles of questions that he's going to have to deal with. One of the major ones, one of the really difficult ones to deal with, we've talked about previously quality assessments, understanding what varietals bring to things, and what varietals this. We'll do a mixed bag at some point of different wines. You're going to have to guess what they are and where they're from. This one is all three of these wines. This is actually a question that does turn up on exams. All three of these wines are from either one region or country.
Yep.
Identify the wines and identify the regions or countries.
Yep.
So, what is the first thing that you think of when I say something like identify regions and countries? What is it that you sort of go to?
Well, logically I'd just go, we're probably doing Australians.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if I was actually doing the test, then...
If you're doing the exam,
Yeah.
The exam could be from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So the first thing you're really going to get through your head is, now we're talking about anywhere in the world. And when you start talking about the old world, like France or Germany or Austria, you start looking at regions. So literally in France, you'll be looking at Loire, Bordeaux, Burgundy, Champagne if you're doing like sparkling. You might even be looking at the Rhone or even the southern regions of Provence or Languedoc-Roussillon, which is actually quite a large region, or actually two regions they've sort of put together. So you got that area. Italy, you're not looking at Italy as a country, you're looking at Piedmont, which is Barolo Barbaresco, you're looking at Friuli, Veneto, Tuscany, Campania, you've just Umbria, down the bottom, which is my favourite, Puglia. So you're really looking at regions in the old world. In the new world, you kind of go countries.
Yeah.
So New Zealand, Australia, America, Argentina, Chile, South Africa. We are getting to the point now when quality wine can be differentiated from regions inside those countries, but again, we're looking at classic regions of wine.
Yep.
So, what we mean by that is, you kind of need to know all the regions in the world that quality wine comes out of. And this will help in the exams. So, if we were sitting down, let's just say these are three Chilean wines, what does Chile do that would bring these three wines to which wines would these be? Well, they would be Sauv Blanc from Central Valley. Oh, and here comes a Jen's pizza.
Here we go.
Thank you, my dear. Yum.
Voila.
So we will be looking at Sauv Blanc from Chile, maybe Chardonnay in the cooler climates of that.
Mountains kind of
Of the mountains type area, and Carmenet, because that's like a classic grape. More than likely, you'd have a Cabernet rather than a Chardonnay. In Argentina, you're looking at, what have we had from Argentina? Malbecs,
Yeah.
and the white being
Is it
Torrontés.
Oh, Toronto's, yeah. I thought it was Spain.
No, Torrontés is actually the one from Argentina.
Ah.
And we'd also probably have something like maybe a Sauv Blanc or a Cabernet, mainly probably a Sauv Blanc from those. It's classic sort of things from there. From the States, you would probably, if it's from Cali, you'd have Zinfandel. Well, 90% of the wine comes out of California. Zinfandel, maybe a Russian River Pinot, Napa Valley Cabernet, or a Napa Valley Chardonnay. So you need to know each of the regions and kind of what the most important wines of those regions are. And this is really, really, really important. Because once you have that, you can literally sit down and look at the 3 wines in front of you and go, okay, and there's always going to be a give me in there. One that you're going to go is, that is obviously Barolo.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, okay, that is Barolo, therefore that's obviously coming from Italy and the northern part of Italy. Piedmont. Then you'll actually stay here. And you will, this is actually probably one of the, when I say the easiest, it's easier, well, it's probably the easiest question to answer. So we've got 3 wines from one region or country.
Yeah.
And as we're in Australia, we'll break it down into what, we'll just take Australia as a whole. This could be 3 Australian wines, could be 3 New Zealand wines, could be 3 South African wines, could be 3 Argentinian wines or 3 Chilean wines. Not America, because I haven't got much of American stuff to play with, so therefore I probably wouldn't have.
So do you just kind of like keep breaking it down? So like it's New World, Old World, and then you break it down further into that, like.
Well, essentially what I do personally is I taste the wines, I figure out what each of the wine varietals are, and then from there I go, what's the classic regions for these varietals? And if the varietals are Sauv Blanc, Surly, Muscadet, and Cab Franc, I'd go France, Loire.
Yeah.
Because they're the 3 major ones. There's also a Pinot Noir you can get from there, but it's mainly Cab Franc, around Chinon particularly. If it was, if I had 2 reds, for example, and this one's a Merlot dominant, that's a Cabernet dominant, and that's a Semillon Sauvignon Blanc, that's Bordeaux, if it was Merlot.
I need your help real quick.
What is it?
These tags are already on the shelf.
Take them off and put them on.
Replace
These
them?
are replacements, yes.
Okay, sure.
Yes, we've had a price change, CPI has gone through, so these are new
they're the
prices.
exact same price though.
Pull them off, put them on.
Fine.
So yes, so literally when you're looking at that, we know there's 2 whites and 1 red. If you can think of what, you could try and guess what they are straight away, but personally what you should do is evaluate each wine individually, because that's where your points are going to be, is in the evaluation of the wines.
Yeah.
So essentially 70% of the marks are going to be in the evaluation of wine, 30% will be in the, did I get the right region? So, do you want to try all the wines and then go through it, or well, I think really we should do the evaluations as we go. So, what is your mnemonics again there? You've got CIC, CIA,
SAT,
A.
Yep.
Yep.
B.
Yep.
F.
Yep.
F.
Yep.
And then it's the B.
Blick.
BLIC.
Yep.
Q.
Yep. Now, as I haven't asked you for any quality assessment,
Yep. So you don't really need a Q.
you really don't need the Q.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't bother entering the Q. You can do, and that won't give you any additional marks, but it will sort of show you. If you say these are very good wines, it can lead you in that direction. If you said these are very acceptable wines, that would suggest they weren't quality wines.
Yeah. So it's probably not coming out of classic regions.
Classic regions, yeah. That's a good one to do, but in the WSET exam, they are going to give you classic styles, classic wines. So kind of, for identification of region, there's no point me giving you a southern area of West Australia Riesling, a Dubbo Shiraz, and a Granite Belt Chardonnay, and trying to figure your way back to Australia from there, because none of those are varietals that you are going to be knowing all about or seeing much of. And those regions are actually getting more and more known, but still the quality regions in Australia are going to still be the same ones. Yarra, Mornington, obviously South Australia, pretty much as a whole. Then you've got Barossa, Clare Valley, Eden Valley, Langhorne Creek, Fleurieu Peninsula, McLaren Vale, McLaren Flat, Coonawarra, Padthaway, Rattenbully, and then over to WA, which is Denmark region, which is the Great Southern region, Pemberton, Margaret River itself, and then up to the Swan Valley. Those regions, like we know about in Australia, but internationally it's not.
Yeah.
not renowned. Though some regions are, obviously WA, all those regions are renowned in their own way, but we're looking now literally at wine, quality wine. So what we're going to do is we'll evaluate the wines as we go through. So the first ones, as I said, start off with...
Colour, yeah.
Yep.
So I got like a light straw kind of colour.
Mm-hmm.
Low to medium intensity and clear.
Okay. Yeah, so medium and... No, so medium. So the first one is clear.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so first one is going to be clear. Second one, you say that's going to be a medium...
Yep.
Yeah, medium straw. Don't worry about light, just medium straw. Yep. Okay. Alright, now let's just go through the wine, have a look at it. Interesting nose.
Light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite light in the nose.
I get like a little bit of fusel thing in the background.
I don't get fusel. I get like sort of this flinty note, and there's also like a creamy sort of milky, leesy sort of note in there as well. Okay, so pardon?
It's very warm. Alcohol.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So, does it smell clean or dirty?
Clean.
Clean, yep.
Yeah.
The intensity of it?
Quite low. Low.
Okay, so
low to medium or.
So what you could say, light intensity, medium minus.
Probably go medium minus.
Medium minus, okay, yep. And what are you getting on that though? What is the aromas that you're picking up?
Like a little bit.
You know what it is for me? Yogurt. Yogurt. By the way, this is the first time I've really sort of seen these wines too, so I'm not reading any back notes to tell you, but like, what's that?
I got like apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of pear.
I definitely see the apple you're talking about. A little bit of pear, I guess, but it's that sort of leesy, yogurty, cheesy sort of. No, definitely yogurt. Like maybe I'm confusing yogurt and nougat.
There's a little bit of texture to it.
A little bit of texture. So your descriptors for that, pretty much apple, pear, yogurt. But I don't think there's much more.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe there's a touch of minerality there with some fleetiness, but
Yeah.
that's about it. So next up we'll go to the S being for
Dry and sweet.
sweet.
Yeah, sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and what are the levels of sweetness you can get? So it's dry,
Oh yeah, dry, medium,
off dry,
off dry, medium dry.
medium sweet,
Yeah.
sweet and lush. Actually, I've got that wrong. So there's no medium sweet. So it's sweet, dry, off dry,
Medium dry.
medium dry,
Dry.
sweet,
Oh, yeah. Luscious.
luscious. Yeah, I think that's it. God, I've made a mistake. Damn, I hate that when I do that. I had it all in my head too. But yes. So is this dry, off dry?
Let's go dry.
I did dry. Yeah. I don't think there's any residual sugar in there at all.
No.
You can tell residual sugar on the tip of your tongue. So literally, if you were really struggling, would have been on the tip of your tongue. You getting sweetness? No, done. Okay. It's a really simple one to work with. It's the hard part is when you start getting to sweet and then luscious,
Yeah.
because you've got so much sugar hitting you. But it'll be very obvious when you balance it up with the acidity. You'll actually figure that out pretty quickly. Speaking of which, next A will be acidity. So. Acidity on that one?
Not much.
No, well, no. Or just the balance, but that
Yeah, I don't get any.
doesn't
Like,
make my
I don't get
mouth
any like the prickling acidity or
No.
like. Yeah.
No, I'd take that.
So just go low acidity or.
Well, low acidity would mean it would be really flabby and stuff. So
Okay. So.
medium, stick with the medium acidity, I reckon it is. I don't think it's medium minus, I think it's just a medium
Nah,
acidity.
just, yeah.
So tannins, obviously it's white wine, so
Yeah.
you're not going to get tannin. So that's it. Next will be alcohol level. Now you said you got a lot of alcohol in this.
I did when I first had it, but this is the first drink for the day. So anything other than water.
Yeah, so it's going to take quite alcoholic. Yeah. No, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think this is anywhere near a high alcohol.
I reckon it's about 12.
Mhm.
Yeah. You get extra points if you guess the alcohol percentage.
Yeah. Well, basically it's a point.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just go low, then
Low.
then 12.
Mm. So alcohol levels are low, as in 8.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking
So
4 to 5% is low. Medium minus is medium minus is 8.5 to 10.
Yeah.
Medium is 11 to 12, I think it is.
Yeah.
Medium plus is 12 to 13 and a half, and then high is basically anything above 13 and a half.
Yeah.
So that's why almost
medium.
all Australian wines are going to be, So at 12, you're looking at medium. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good thing to do. So,
Body.
so what's the body of this like? I mean,
It's not real like mouth filling.
well, considering we're talking about a medium alcohol, and we're talking about medium acidity, there's a lot more body than you'd expect.
Yeah.
I think I'd put it up a little bit. I'd say medium bodied at least. I wouldn't put any higher, but I'd say definitely medium bodied. I mean,
It's got some texture to it.
good texture. And in fact, if you wanted to say that this is a little bit of, you can say some texture on there. You can do as well. Now, let's flavour intensity. I think there's more flavour intensity there than I was expecting. From the nose, with a medium minus nose, I wasn't expecting much. But now I'm actually getting quite a few. There's a bit of floral in there. There's some, obviously the fruits are there as well, particularly the apple that you got before and the pear.
Yeah, it's like white flour kind of.
Yeah, so white flowers in there as well.
Do you write down the?
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, you write things like was it fruits, apples, pears, florals, florals and white flowers. Anything else in primaries? Anything else getting primary? No, I think it pretty much covers that off. But into the secondary part, so the winemaking part, do we get any oak on there?
I got a little bit, but it's not over the
It's
top.
not over the top. No, I'd say
Yeah.
I'm
Probably a short time. And just
Yeah.
some
maybe some old oak, but I don't get any major.
Staves or something.
I don't get any. No, I don't get any vanilla. I don't get any nuttiness. I don't get any cedar notes, but that yogurt or
Yeah. Would that be
almost-
mallow
yeah,
or?
it could be malolactic fermentation. So therefore, I would actually suggest that, say in their secondary secondary notes of malolactic fermentation, in brackets, you could say leasiness, yogurt, whatever you want. Tertiary wise, I don't think there's much bottle development. No, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so and more to the point, what is the flavour intensity of that though? I reckon that's medium.
medium.
Yeah, medium. Yeah, medium. Okay, what about the finish?
It's got a little bit of
It's got
finish.
a good, quite a nice finish actually,
Mm.
and it's of the apples and white flower.
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Yeah, I think more of the flowers on the finish.
So, but
long-
because I get apples and flowers,
nice long finish.
so therefore I'd say medium plus finish with some complexity of apples and flowers. There you go. That's nice and simple. Now, let's have a quick. Now we do the blick now
Yeah.
because actually, honestly, that's probably where you can finish,
Yeah.
and you can identify the wine from there.
Yeah.
However, if you want to sort of help yourself out, it's always nice to know in your own head when you're evaluating wine. So let's just evaluate the wine as it is. So literally, we've finished tasting now. So the balance.
Yep.
So what are your balance points?
The acidity with the dry.
So acidity is being medium.
Yep.
Alcohol is
yeah,
medium.
Yep. So
So those two balance off. Flavor intensity
Yep.
is medium.
Yep.
Against, well, there's no tannin, but
Yeah.
so
sweet.
medium again, but
Right.
against medium. So
So it's balanced.
it's balanced. Yeah. And the internal balance as well. So primary versus secondary. I think the primary is
They balance pretty well.
They
Like, you can
balance
still
pretty
get
well.
a bit of mallow or
so.
yeah.
I reckon it's a very well balanced wine.
So to say.
Now, when I first tried that, when I first tasted it, I wasn't wowed.
Yeah.
But when you look at your notes, you go, actually, that's a lot better than I thought it was. So,
So
not
to
for
say,
me.
very
So,
well balanced.
yeah, very well balanced wine. So, yeah. And then your length is going to be basically
the
copy
finish.
your finish.
Yeah.
Your intensity wise, well, it's medium intensity. And complexity wise, it had 3 descriptors at least, so therefore it's not overly complex, and probably that would hold it back from being an exceptional wine. Intensity wise, it's medium, so again, that would probably hold it back from being a
Really complex.
a superb or an excellent wine. So, is it acceptable?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it good? Well, I reckon
Yeah.
it is.
Very well balanced.
Yeah,
with
so
everything. Yeah.
Is it very good? Probably.
I'll put it on the cusp.
I'd put it on the cusp, but I'd say it's good. I'd say it's a good wine.
Yeah.
It's a good wine. Okay, so can you identify the grape varietal?
I'm thinking, I think it's Chardonnay, but
No, it's not
maybe
Chard.
Chablis or something.
Is it?
Well, Chardonnay, Chablis is
Right.
Chardonnay.
Yeah, when it's made over there, it's not like an Australian slap in the face.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking maybe Old World.
And what's the difference between Old World and New World wines?
Is it the alcohol and the?
Well, alcohol's a really good indicator,
Yeah.
but
Intensity.
it is fruit-forward, fleshy palate. That is what defines a New World wine. Yeah,
Well, this
this
one-
one's straight.
So we just said it'd have a full body, medium.
A medium body.
With textural
Mm-hmm.
textural medium body. So wouldn't that say New World or?
It's quite delicate.
Possibly, it's delicate though.
For me, I think it's
Does it, do you think it's fruit forward?
Not overly, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not as like it's not like a Australian Sauv Blanc or like a it's like not a Pinot Gris or anything like that.
And do you find the body to be quite fleshy or really quite full?
We got textural, like
We've got texture, but that's not.
It's not like it's not
Okay.
like full body shard or anything.
Okay,
like that.
so we'll put that one down. That's a good one to look at.
Yeah.
We'll review that when it comes to actually writing up our note for the next wine.
Yeah.
So, or, for all the wines. So let's have a look at the next one then.
very
but-
golden.
Yeah, do you have if you want to have a guess at what the varietal is, write that down.
Oh, okay.
So, and do you know the varietals, I should say? It's probably the big thing. White wine varietals. What white wine varietals are there?
We got Sauv.
Yep.
Chard.
Yep.
Riesling.
Yep.
Pinot Gris.
Yep.
Grigio. Vermentino.
Yep.
Viognier.
Yep.
Actually,
Verdelho.
Modelo, yep.
Verdelho, yeah.
Albarino.
Albarino, Fiano.
Yep. Torontes.
Toronto's.
And then you've got like other
Yeah,
whites
yeah.
as well, but we'll stick to the ones that we kind of have dealt with quite a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things that I was told to do, and on an exam question of what either identification or classic region wines, literally write out. There's write out a list of wines that you have. So those lists will be, and usually start at the lightest, working your way up to the heaviest, and collate all the whites together, and then collate all the reds together. So what that literally means is, let's just take a look at what you just said then. So what's the lightest out of all of those? Well, Suave would be the lightest. That's Garganega, so I put that at the top. Next after that, probably go Riesling.
Yep.
And then you work your way down. Sauv Blanc, Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio. Gris turns up a night later, but I usually just put a slice in, just to remind myself that it exists. Ending up basically at the top end of Chardonnay. So you have Aubigno's, Vianos, and ending up with Chardonnay. Write all those out, and then you've got something to go, what's that wine? What is that wine? Well, is it a Riesling? No, it doesn't have enough character to be a Riesling. As in like enough fusel characters or enough sweetness to be a Riesling from Germany. Or
Riesling generally?
no, not generally, no. And that's literally what you do. Is you go da da da. Could be an Aubigno, could be the Fiano, could be this, could be that, could be the Chardonnay, could be this, could be a Semillon even that's been oaked. Okay, all those are in your head, and it's very hard. But usually, always go with your first thought. Is what I'd suggest. So we're going into the second wine now. So colour this one a little bit deeper than the last one. No, this isn't showing much, is it? Have you got COVID?
No, just a broken nose.
Or are you a smoker?
Had a smoke before I came in. So, you're writing your thing up, so therefore the CIC is the first thing you get done, and so you can smash that quickly. Clear, medium intensity, and I'd go straw. It is slightly deeper than the last one.
I don't know. I didn't know it was due to
You reckon it's
condensation.
golden?
Yeah.
You go gold. So in that case, you can go for a medium straw. You could even probably. I wouldn't be against putting light gold, but I think you need gold that's a little more brown into it than this.
I thought like there's something to do with the condensation. It looked a bit darker, but the other one didn't have as much condensation.
Yeah, no, that's right. So just leave it at that. That's fine.
So,
Next up, nose. Clean, dirty,
clean.
Yep. You're pretty much almost going to know that. The only time you get it is particularly with natural wines when you go,
Yeah.
oh, what the hell? Or it could be, actually could be, and this is something that has struck me, is that it might be Brecci. So you might have Brettanomyces there, which you go, oh my God, that's a faulty wine. Well, in New World, it is kind of a faulty wine, but in the Old World, it's actually an indicator of where things go. So you might have a really Brecci Italian wine. And that might be just one of the styles that they might have come out of the region, but it gives you a pointer.
Yeah.
So
Intensity.
you get much intensity out of that?
Not really.
No, I'm not getting a huge amount of intensity. I'm medium minus intensity on the nose, but I am getting something.
Yeah, I'm getting some.
So what are you getting?
Kind of hard to beat. It's like stone fruity.
Mm-hmm. So peach.
Yeah, it's like a peach or maybe nectarine, maybe. Yeah, apart from that, I can't really get much else actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just write down. Anything you need to know?
Nah, it's only really back at 4:30. So it's someone wanting to know if we want to put an order in. He's coming up this way tomorrow.
Is that Ben, is it?
Yeah, Ben.
I think we're fine. So you've just got stone fruit, peach, or nectarine, whichever one you put in, or both. They are pretty similar. Are you picking up anything else in there? Can be a bit hard. I would say I'm not.
Light on the nose.
It's very, very light on the nose. So maybe even medium minus might be light.
I'll stick with medium minus.
Mhm.
That's initially what I got.
Right. Let's go to sweetness.
Not.
That's yeah, it's dry, but there's some punchy fruit in there. Acidity?
It's got like a little bit of a like prickling kind of acidity.
It's on the back, almost the back of the tongue, not the side of the mouth.
Yeah, the irony for me is that I'm getting a fair bit of saliva running through, but I'm eating at the same time, so could be that. But acidity wise, medium, I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much more than medium. Tannin, well, there's obviously no tannin.
Alcohol, it seems a bit higher than the
This
last
one
one.
does seem a little hotter than the last one.
Mm.
But again, how high do you reckon?
I think it still sits in the 12 to,
12 to 13, so
12 to 13 and a half, yeah.
yeah, I'd say medium really.
Yeah.
Body.
Actually got a bit of body on this one.
Got a bit of body on this one, yeah.
So,
Well, what do you reckon? You tell me. I think there's more fruit intensity in it, which is belying the body side of it. Because at the end of the day, the body is probably not much more than it was for the previous wine. Maybe I'd do personally medium,
yeah.
but I wouldn't go. I don't think it's worth medium plus. That way. Okay. Flavour intensity. So how much flavour is there? I think there's I'd say medium plus. That's got some real fruit intensity there.
It's real forward.
It is really forward. So fruit intensity, that's medium plus. And then tell us what fruits you're getting on the palate, which are really different from the nose that we got. So I'm still getting peach. That's peach nectarine, but I'm also picking up there's some sort of like nutty notes in there as well.
But that would be secondary, wouldn't it?
That's secondary fermentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, secondary stuff. Yeah.
I can't really get many other primary notes though.
No, you're probably right with that. Just stick with the normal. Just say the primary notes for that. Yeah, absolutely fine. So primary notes: stone fruit, peach nectarine. In the secondary notes, you're getting some nuts. There's also a little bit of creaminess in there too. Like
Yeah, there's a little.
it does have something to it.
I don't get that in this one.
No getting that. Yeah, I'm just getting a little bit of creaminess in there, but I wouldn't say it's high mallow at all. I'd say it's just, I reckon it's just a very fruit-driven style of wine. So bit of nectarine, and just for the secondary stuff, maybe some old oak, but don't worry if you don't see it. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I don't really get too much.
No, you don't. What about the finish? What are you getting on finish wise, Dan?
Pizza.
Pizza, yeah, that's always a good one to have on the bag. If I had a wine that finished like pizza, I'd be drinking it every day.
Got a little bit of finish, but it's not got the
Sure.
flavours disappear pretty quick.
Really? Okay, hold on, I'm just going to double check that myself. I'd say it's got at least a medium finish. I wouldn't say it's a long finish, but a medium plus finish, because I'm still getting the fruit weight, and that fruit weight is what's sitting in there. And I'm still getting it, and now it's dissipated now. That's quite a long time. Obviously, better wines will last for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But I do find it a simple finish.
Probably doesn't go very well with pizza,
No,
actually.
maybe not. But I do find it a simple finish. So I would say medium length finish with medium length simple finish, and the simple finish is the fruit component. So balance wise, literally we're having a look at the balance. So we've got medium acidity,
Yeah, it's pretty much
medium alcohol, and medium flavour intensity. So it's fairly balanced.
Yeah.
I find, however, the big thing for me is that the internal balance of primary and secondary notes is out of whack.
Yeah.
So I would say it's balanced, but not ridiculously well balanced. So I'd say balanced. And when you say balanced, you say balance the drying components of acidity versus the fruit to alcohol or sweet components. And in fact, I'll even change my mind and say that I know that we said the acidity is medium. I might even push that down to medium minus, because I'm getting so much fruit punching through that the acidity is not crisping it up and not making it feel on point. There doesn't seem to be that line of acidity that I need. So I would say it is, I'd go, has some balance, but the fruit is quite dominating in this. So
I was going to say balance, but primary fruits overwhelms.
Yeah,
secondary
secondary, and in fact push the whole thing out of balance.
Hey, Davey Stabler.
Davey Stabler, you're in Victoria at the moment, I hear.
What's he doing down there?
He is, well, I don't know, Davey, can I tell him what you're doing down there?
You haven't eloped, have you?
You have exactly 3 minutes before I start telling the world what you're doing in Victoria. Length?
Well, medium plus, primary notes.
So yeah, it's a medium plus finish, but simple finish. Medium plus simple. So again, that's not really pushing it further up. Intensity wise, I think the fruit's intense, but simple.
Yeah.
Fruit intensity is good, but it's simple.
So
yeah, the intensity, the wine shows good fruit intensity, but that's about it. And complexity, well, I'm going to go with, this seems like a simple wine of primary fruits with some old oak.
I can't guess what that is.
Yeah, it can be a little bit difficult, but yeah.
I think I have an idea.
Okay. So what do you think it is?
Seems kind of like South American-y.
South American? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe like
a Torontes or a Fiano or something.
Maybe.
Sort of, maybe a Chardonnay or...
I'm thinking maybe a Fiano for the first one.
Fiano? Okay. Don't stress too much yet. Go to the next one. There is going to be one wine in this bracket that is going to be like, that is definitely, and makes it really easy. And from there you can try and work backwards. Generally I find that...
so would you put this in the average?
In the quality,
average to good?
I'd say acceptable.
Oh,
This is
acceptable to good, sorry.
Yeah, it's acceptable. It doesn't really carry the balance that we wanted. It doesn't get any outstanding marks for intent length. Intensity is nice, but it's not particularly powerful with complexity, and it's quite simple. There's nothing wrong with being a simple wine. So therefore, it's gone from definitely acceptable, might maybe get pushed into good, maybe. And it wouldn't surprise me if I'd call it good. I actually probably would call it good, because I think the intensity of the fruits there, the wine, though simple, still shows some nice character. So there's nothing I wouldn't be upset about. Now, this one here, this looks interesting. Actually, this looks really interesting. So, alright, what are you going to push this one to, Pat? So, clear?
Yes, clear.
Intensity wise?
It's got like a brownie hue to it, like I reckon, like a dark ruby.
So you're going into that garnet spectrum now?
Garnet, yeah.
Okay. Well, what about the intensity of it?
It's like quite intense. Like,
you reckon? Oh, okay. Remember you just talked about a reddy black colour is a deep intensity would be a red black, it would be like Cabernet smash through.
oh, so if it's like, but it's still lighter.
If you can see through it on the.
Okay, so yeah, so it's not intense.
So what do you reckon? I reckon
Like a medium plus.
medium minus.
Oh, medium.
Medium minus intensity, or medium minus. And I think it's with that reddy brown colour, that garnet. Right. So where does that immediately sort of put our brain when we start talking about that?
That I'm not going to like it.
Well, yeah, I can see where you're going. But it does mean that it's going to be, is it a fuller bodied wine or a lighter bodied wine?
Yeah,
Right, so if I turned around and said, when you taste that wine, you get massive amounts of tannin, light colour, high tannin would push you to, we have done this wine before together, and it's one of the key indicators of a really obvious part of it. of the grape varietal Nebbiolo.
Oh yeah.
So that is generally the colour you're looking at for Barolos and Barbarescos. So it's like, okay, so literally all you do to test that is, does it have really high tannin? I don't think so.
No.
So therefore that immediately eliminates Barbarescos and Barolos. Okay, so you see how you're looking for those key indicators for it. So let's go to the next one with CIA. So is it clean on the nose?
Got something a bit.
I don't
Look
like
at
the colour
funky.
on the
Yeah.
nose, so,
Okay, you got something a bit dirty on the nose? Okay.
I don't know. It's like it's a
Jesus.
bit more age or.
Could be an age component. There is a very good chance that wines you're going to get, because they're usually held back in some cases, this might be well, it's not, but it could be something like a Grand Reserva
Well, you shelled out.
Rioja.
Yeah.
So that could be like a wow,
Yeah.
look at that, Jesus, that's impressive. But because it's not got the colour of it, it definitely wouldn't be. It also doesn't have enough oxidised notes in there to be that kind of thing. But it certainly shows some interesting characters. So
So I go.
clean or not clean?
Well, it's not like
But it's not
it's
dirty.
not it's not off.
No, there's no fault,
Yeah.
there's no dirt. So I'd say clean.
Intensity.
Intensity wise, well, interesting, isn't it?
it's interesting.
Yeah.
So it has got some intensity, but
It's got some
whether
intensity,
you
but
like it or not.
okay, do you think it's a medium plus?
Pretty good. Medium.
It's a medium, that's fine. And now this is actually the hard part. We've got to start pulling apart the notes. So on primer notes, so let's look for some fruits. There's some red berries in there,
I got
definitely.
like mulberries.
Mulberries, yeah, they're put purple, aren't they?
Oh, you get like redder mulberries, like
Okay.
I don't like the really ripe mulberries.
Okay.
Because you get the black ones.
I
I don't
get-
think it's like blackcurrant or anything.
I get rhubarb.
Okay.
Never had a rhubarb.
It's worth having.
Had rhubarb.
I do get some red fruits and some rhubarb. I also, and also dark fruits like black cherry, light black cherry. So, I wouldn't say strawberry, but it's definitely some intense fruits in there. I get some light red fruits. I get some intense dark fruits, and I get some rhubarb in there. Maybe some cranberry as well.
Cranberry, yeah, cranberries actually.
I'd probably go cranberries are a good one to work with. Do we get any secondary notes?
You get something in secondary.
Yeah, I do. I get some secondary notes. I get a little bit of that cedariness.
That could be what that dominant
yeah.
smell is.
No, yeah.
No, it's
So I get some cedariness in that as well. Now, obviously, we believe all of us have talked about tertiary notes in there. What are we seeing in tertiary notes? And that could be the fruit development that I was talking about. When you get to fruit development, you get some jamminess, some juiciness into it. Personally, I'm looking at those dark cherry notes, thinking that they could be going into that
Leathery.
jam spectrum.
Okay.
And there's some leather there
Yeah.
as well. So again, put that in. So, but I also think there's some fruit development there, giving slightly that dark cherry jamminess in there. But it's not.
on the nose.
Yeah, just on the nose. Yeah. All right, so let's go on to the palate now. We've got enough descriptors for that. Usually once you've hit 4 descriptors, you've gone to
yeah.
quite a complex sort of area.
Yeah.
So now sweetness. Thank God that's not sweet.
Yeah.
That's definitely dry. Acidity wise,
I don't get a lot of acidity.
oh
Like,
okay.
A little bit.
I'm getting a bit. I'd at least a medium to medium plus, because my mouth is watering now. It could be Jen's pieces,
No.
but I still think it's medium plus.
actually, yeah.
Literally, the best thing to do is to go, and then just see how much saliva appears in your mouth. And obviously, there's quite a lot there. So I'd even push it maybe to
Medium
high.
plus. Oh,
Medium plus to high for me. Medium plus is good though,
Yeah.
right? Tannin structure. Now it is a red wine. It does
Yeah.
have tannin. What do you reckon tannin wise? Light, medium plus.
Well, it's not a Saperavi.
Mm.
It's like prickling or a bit
It's
rusty.
medium for me. It's not.
Yeah, I go medium tannins. Yeah.
It's not over the top.
It's not It's not over the top, no, but definitely has some really nice tannin. It's got some really nice. Oh, I'm trying to think of the word for it is. I wouldn't say fine grained tannins. I don't say chalky tannins. I wouldn't say drying tannins. I'd say maybe rounded tannins. So you can taste it, and it does flow around the palate. I do. They're not hard tannins. I do find them slightly. I'd say rounded. I'd say medium rounded tannins. They're not silky tannins.
No.
They're not velvety tannins, but they're definitely rounded. All right. Next up is alcohol. This is probably one of the big kickers now. What's the alcohol in this like?
I don't get too much warminess from it.
I don't either. Maybe 12.5%.
I think the first one probably had more alcohol than the
This,
last.
Yeah.
Well, no, we put the
Or
first one
it's
as very
well
so
balanced.
medium.
So medium.
Yep, medium. Right, body-wise,
It's got a quite good body, I reckon. Like,
it's got a good body, but is it a heavy body?
it's not heavy.
No.
No.
So therefore, is it a light body?
You
You can be quite
Yeah,
lovely
Is
and
it
actually.
medium minus on the body? Or?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
medium minus sounds about right.
Yeah, medium minus, that's right. But it is a lighter bodied red.
Mm.
So before we get anywhere else, where's your brain going for this wine? For a lighter bodied red?
Something like a Pinot or
It's not a Pinot.
Pinot or
Pinotage.
Oh,
Pinotage.
Pinotage actually, yeah.
yeah, well that Pinotage, but I think it's missing those smoky, cindery notes.
Yeah.
So I expect
Oh, the-
Pinotage.
The meaty.
What about all that meat? What about Sangiovese? That's the same thing, but it hasn't got the
It
red
hasn't got
cherries.
the really red fruit
It's
forward
Chianti.
type.
Chianti is actually the
It's a white
Sangiovese.
style red, isn't it?
Yeah,
I thought it was just like a.
it is. It's
Sangiovese.
Sangiovese, 70% to 80%
Right.
Sangiovese. Merlot and Cabernet are dominant with backup. Is it a Corvina, which is the Valpolicella?
No idea.
No, this hasn't got enough. The acidity is not high enough for it.
And I don't believe we've got one in the shop. have we?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. What about Nero d'Avola?
I always get confused with Nero d'Avolas
The one I had the other night was
and
a lot
A lot
bigger
more.
than this.
bigger
so
than
this is
this.
heavier.
And that is correct. That's exactly right. So obviously we've taken Cabernet out. We've taken Tempranillo out. We've taken
Shiraz.
Merlot out. Shiraz could be a Syrah, is it?
Like,
Does it have the spiciness for a Syrah?
No.
Still too light body, I think.
Still too light body for the so we're really looking at that light body spectrum. So think of in your head of all the light bodied reds you can think. All right, let's go to the flavouring intensity now. I actually find the flavour intensity of this quite good. I'd say medium plus flavour intensity
Trying to
myself.
work out the flavours on the actual tongue.
Well, literally you can look up here
Yeah.
and you can pretty much nail it through off your aroma.
Well, I get more of the secondary notes on the actual palate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But I'm getting cranberry.
I get the cranberry.
Yeah. I'm getting rhubarb.
I get that. I do get a little bit of smokiness or cigar box or
Yeah.
something out of that.
Well, that's a tertiary note, definitely.
Yeah, I get the cedar and the leather.
Yep. So it does have those notes. In
I don't know
there.
about the jamminess though. I don't get.
No, there's no real. Well, no. Red. So black cherry.
It's very ripe fruit.
It's very ripe, which is almost to the point of being jammy for me. That's why I think it's a jammy note for fruit development in the bottle. So let's have a look at. Well, what's your? Do you believe the intensity is medium minus, medium plus, medium?
Good medium plus.
I'll give medium plus. Yeah. I honestly do. I think that's a really. It's quite intense.
I didn't think I'd like it from my nose. And
It's a
well,
struggle,
it's
isn't it?
actually quite good.
Yeah. And this is something that happens with a lot of wines that I've had around the world. Is that I've gone, and I've tried it, and I've gone, ooh,
This is good.
that's really good. And unfortunately, when I bring it to dinner parties with friends, they go, oh, that doesn't smell very good.
Yeah.
Could it be a Cabernet?
No, Cabernet is a lot deeper in colour than this.
Is it?
Yeah. Basically they used to sell Carmenere as Chilean Merlot.
Ah, okay.
So that Merlot we've already taken out because it's definitely not a Merlot. Not enough tannin and certainly not enough colour. So just basically write your flavour intensity and how you feel it looks to it. And the palate weight. So what about the finish?
Fairly lengthy.
Pardon?
Fairly lengthy.
It is fairly lengthy, isn't
Still
it?
going and going.
Yeah, it's surprisingly long.
Mm.
For I know that we talked about the intensity of it being quite intense, as in medium plus intensity, but the sheer length of flavour.
Quite a pleasant finish.
It's
Like,
quite a pleasant finish. So the finish
like
is long. And do you find it complex or do you find it simple?
I think it's
I
got
got
a
it.
fair bit of complexity.
Yeah, I still get.
So
Actually,
I'm going with complex as well.
yeah.
Showing complexity.
The flavours just really hang in there.
Yeah, they do. Now, balance. So literally, let's have a look at the balance. So tannins is medium, acidity is medium plus, alcohol is medium, flavour intensity is medium plus, which would suggest to you that it is...
All balanced.
It's balanced.
Yeah, so very balanced.
So a very balanced wine. That's of the sweet notes to the dry notes, particularly. And when we talk about the internal balance, those primary, secondary, and tertiary notes, I think it's pretty good.
No.
Yeah, no, I'd say yeah,
Yeah.
very good. So internal balance for me of primary, secondary, and tertiary notes all marry up beautifully. Length literally goes with the finish, which is long and complex. So all I can say is long and complex. So that's two big pluses so far. Intensity-wise, well, we said medium plus, so
It
is fairly intense. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just stuffing up.
Okay.
Yeah, so medium plus or medium?
Well, the intensity is essentially what you said.
Yeah.
This wine shows good intensity with all the balanced fruits together of the following things. And complexity. Well, we've given 4 descriptors, haven't we? So it is complex. So that means it's gone from acceptable to good
Probably just
to
go
very
with
good
that.
to exceptional.
No. Oh, I don't know. Exceptional.
Yeah, remember, exceptional is still a broad range too.
Yeah.
I mean, according to this, the balance is great, so it gets full marks for balance. Length, well, it's long, finished with complexity. That's full marks for that. Intensity, probably the only thing that would pull it back is it's not ridiculously intense, but it's still pretty intense.
I still find the
And then complexity, it's we've just said it's complex.
Yeah.
Which one of those is dragging it back?
I think the secondary notes kind of overwhelm the primary notes. So for me, I get more of the secondary notes.
Again, though, but which one of those drags it back? You've just given full marks.
Yeah, true.
So, despite the fact we all think, well, you guys think that it's not an exceptional one.
On paper.
On paper, it's an exceptional one. And this is one of the hard parts. We don't love this wine. No matter what, like, it's good wine. We all know it's a good wine. We don't love it, so we're not looking at it as an exceptional. But when you look it down on a piece of paper, written out objectively,
You've already said it is.
you've said it is. And if you go against that, they're just going to put a big X through you.
Fail.
So, which is kind of why a lot of people prevaricate in exams like this, where they go, oh, I found the intensity not quite enough, and they'll find excuses. But I, honestly, once you've written it, and you do your blick, it's an exceptional wine.
Yeah.
Rightio, so do you have an idea of what this wine, or what varietal is? It's pretty full on. But take a stab. Dan?
Oh, well, not Australian, obviously.
So that's it, that's the first thing. Okay, the first thing we've just said now is all three of these wines we're looking at, and we all know they're from the same region. None of them showed high alcohol.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's pretty much old world is out.
Yeah.
Bodies were not much more than medium. So again, that's the new world. New world's out. So the new world's out. It doesn't show much more medium. Therefore, the new world is out again. So therefore, we're looking at the old world, and where the old world will start with Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Germany, and Austria. They're probably the major ones. So, which one of these wines do you reckon is an indicator?
I reckon, like,
That one?
I can't remember, like, I always get mixed up with the difference between Barolos, Barbarescas.
Well, we know that these aren't.
I don't think they're French.
The tannins.
I think more likely Italy.
Yeah, I reckon.
Well, what's the acidity
Medium plus.
on that one? The others?
Medium minus. And medium.
Right, so that takes Italy out.
They got
Italy
tannins,
is a lot higher with the acidity.
Okay.
So, literally, Italy is a lot higher with the acidity.
So it could be German or French.
Well, German or Spanish, or Portuguese. But again, Spain is usually a lot more fruit intensity to it. So
The heat.
we can, because it's a warmer climate, so we'll push it out. Same with Portugal. Italy, we've pushed out due to the lack of acidity. So we look at Germany. What if, in Germany, which one of these is a Riesling?
I think the first one might have been a Riesling.
Do you think any of these are a Riesling, honestly?
I didn't think.
Oh, I thought one of them might have been so.
Okay. Pat thought that one of them might have been, which would mean the only other white varietal that they would have had would be probably another Riesling. So, do you think two of them are Rieslings?
No.
No. In that case, that's Germany kind of out. They do this red in there, in Germany, but again, no. Austria, we haven't really gone through Blau Frankish and all the rest of it, and we don't have that much of them. I do have a couple, but probably not enough to make a tasting out of this. So that's
France.
Austria, Germany, Italy, and Spain, and Portugal gone. That leaves France. So, what are the classic regions? What are the regions in France?
Roussan and Languedoc.
Okay, Roussan and Languedoc. Does it have fruit intensity that the Roussan and Languedoc would develop, and also is it a Grenache?
No.
Well, that's Languedoc, Roussan out the way. Is it Shiraz and Viognier? Is that a Syrah?
No.
Well, that's Rhone out the way. Is it? Is there a Cabernet? Is that Cabernet?
No.
No, that's Bordeaux gone. What about Loire? Is this a Sauv Blanc in here somewhere?
No.
I didn't think so.
Or a Muscadet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so this is definitely a Cab Franc, so therefore that's Loire out the way. So let's go across now to, where else is there?
The other B one.
Burgundy?
Burgundy. Yeah. It's
So
not Pinot.
what did you say that one was to begin with, Dan?
I thought it was Chablis or Chablis
Which
or
is,
something.
and where is Chablis?
Give me a hint.
It's the north part of Burgundy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This one here, what does it look like to you? Did it look any sort of Chardonnay with its peach and nectarine character?
Yeah, well, it had a little bit of mallow, so.
But it's peach.
Yeah.
That's a Chardonnay character.
Yeah.
And this one here, that is a ridiculously intense, beautifully balanced wine
Damn French.
of, out of Burgundy,
Out of Burgundy?
Pinot Noir.
Oh, really?
Okay.
That is a Pinot Noir. Now, look at that in comparison to look at all the other Pinot Noirs that we've had from the New World, and particularly from New Zealand. That looks nothing like them.
Yeah.
That is intense.
Yeah.
It still has those red fruit characters
But it doesn't.
of
like,
cranberry and like cherries and things like that too.
Mm.
So,
But
And-
I suppose you don't get as many secondary notes with Australian and New Zealand Pinots.
not generally, but there's a lot more earthiness to that.
Mm.
And you know when you said that on the nose it had a weird sort of funk to it?
Yeah.
It's a dirty style Burgundian wine. So yes. Now, how do you identify that? So we've literally gone through ahead and we've gone, Dan was on the money with Chablis. Absolutely 100%. Why did you think Chablis?
Because it wasn't as heavy as I thought it was a Chardonnay.
Good
So-
call. Yep.
But it wasn't as heavy as I knew it was Old World.
Yep.
It wasn't an Australian one. And obviously, if I thought it was a Chardonnay, it's probably going to be a Chablis.
Yep. So, and Chablis is
Had a little bit of
renowned
oak and
for Malo and almost no oak. So it's old oak, but it's mallow. Mallow is the big thing in that one. And that is the obvious part of it. It's also got a flinty character in there as well, which gives it away as Chablis. When you said Chablis off the bat, I went, yeah, it's Dan's palate, fucking nailed it. But then you all sort of argued that it wasn't Chardonnay, you started doubting. You were right, 100% correct, Chablis. This one here is an acceptable Chardonnay from Burgundy. It's from one of the sort of bulk growing areas in the high areas of that area, of Burgundy. It is not, you can tell a really quality French wine because you should see oak. French only really put oak onto things that are of good quality. They don't stay in teabag generally, but they may do in some of the cheaper areas. But if it's Burgundy, and this is listed as Burgundy, they will, if it's not, cru Burgundy, they don't generally put much oak onto it. They'll use old oak at best. So, again, this one has all the characters of Chardonnay in that it's peach, nectarine, but it's quite simple. This one, however,
it's very different to that.
Than that one, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both Chardonnays, but they're both, that's the winemaking coming into it there. And the last one, I would understand why you couldn't identify that after all the Pinot that we've drunk. That is nothing like that. But the pullback is, it's a lighter bodied wine that has flavour intensity up the wazoo. And that, the flavour intensity of those particular things, cranberry, rhubarb, it is older, so it's going to have a bit of leather.
Got a little bit of jamminess.
Yeah, it's got fruit. Yep, the jamminess in there as well. But that is really, really good Pinot Noir. And when you go Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, well, where in France, or where in the old world does actually Chardonnay? Well, it's only Burgundy. So therefore, you can literally write these three wines, Burgundian wines, particularly as wines 1 and 2 are Chardonnay, wine 3 is a Pinot Noir. Wine 3 particularly shows great winemaking, fantastic intensity, and take these notes down here. This would suggest to me that this is a Côte de Nuit Pinot Noir. This would suggest to me a acceptable bulk produced wine from Burgundy, but due to the high malolactic fermentation and flintiness, would suggest that this is a Chablis, which is from the northern part of Burgundy. Bang, you've done the answer. And in fact, let's pull the wines out. So just, if you'd like to go down there and grab that box underneath the table there, Dan.
On the table.
Under the table there. Yep. Is there a box there? Oh no,
Box of Diablo.
did I put it over there? Sorry. My bad.
And it is Diablo.
It is Diablo, ginger beer. No. So, here are the wines that we have done today.
Burgundy.
So, this is Domaine Cornu Bourguignon Hautes Côte de Nuit, which is 2015.
So
That's 6 years old.
that's tertiary notes.
That's the tertiary notes. We have a Burgundy Chardonnay from Prosper Malfaux, which I actually have had before. It's 2016. I've had before, and I found it a lot better when I had it last. Maybe the yolk hasn't shown through. And finally, this is a Prosper Malfaux Chablis. So that's Burgundy. So really,
Well done.
well done. Well done to us, because you nailed it with Chablis. The first thing you said was Chablis, I'm like, well, that finishes the thing. Let's all go home now.
Now I just need to know exactly where it was from.
Yeah. But Pat, this is what I'm saying is that once you've identified, the real gimme is this one. This is the real, that's Pinot Noir. That is a really well-made Pinot Noir. And it's old world, really well-made Pinot Noir.
See, I haven't had an old world Pinot Noir.
You have now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a really well-made old world Pinot Noir. Now, in the old world, Pinot Noir, you've only really got France, which is Burgundy. You've got Germany around the Pfalz region. And that's Burgunder. Then you've got Austria, which does have Pinot Noir. I think it's called Blanc Frankish. No, it's not Blanc Frankish. That's another great problem again. But it's essentially another thing from you're not going to get, and that's it. This year 3, and classically, take classically Austria is out. If these were Rieslings, absolutely, 100%, go for it. That's probably the best Pinot Noir you're ever going to get.
The middle one had that fusel note I got at the start.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, but the
Maybe
colour
it is.
was like the golden colour would have been aged Riesling.
Would have been an aged Riesling, yeah. So that was the giveaway. The other giveaway was the Chablis. If I was being a bit of a nasty person, I'd have put a second red in there, and it would have been Beaujolais, because Beaujolais is the bottom end of Burgundy. That's not going to happen though.
We weren't going to pick that anyway.
No, you would have actually for Beaujolais you'd have had two reds and a white. For Bordeaux you're definitely going to have two reds and a white. For Loire, you'll have two whites and a red. One of them's going to be a Muscadet Surly, which is really, really light. The problems you're going to have with old world wines is that there's only 2 or 3 varietals that are classic out of those old world areas, but once you figure out what they are, you're easily done. It's when they go, all 3 of these are from one country or region, and it turns out to be Australia, unless it's a Clare Valley Riesling, a Margaret Chardonnay, and a Coonawarra Cabernet, you're going to be pushing it uphill.
Pick where they're from.
Because it could be Argentina, it could be Chile, because all of them do those things. But they try to put things in that are classic from that area. In fact, in Australia it should be Riesling, Shiraz, and Cabernet. Honestly, that's to be dead honest. No offense to Chardonnay, because I love Chardonnay drinking from Australia. But if you're doing it as an international tasting, that's how it works.
That's considered the classic.
That's the classic Australian stuff. If you're, so we've gone through the other ones that we've said all around the world. So at the end of the day, though, 70% of your marks are on your tasting notes. I think you did very well for those. I think you're really nailing it. Once you've done these, though, you're going to have to hand write them out quickly.
Oh yeah.
That's a really important. And I would suggest you take these home tonight and literally write out some sentence structures.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'd suggest for you to do. And the other part is write out also at the end of the day, try to remember the wines and go, due to wine 1, wine 2, and 3,
Yeah.
start talking about region.
Well, now I've had a Chablis and a
Chablis and a Pinot Noir.
Yeah, and an old world Chard.
Yep.
I've never had any of those like old world Pinot either.
Well, when I was over there, I drank a lot of this, and whilst it was nice, it was just not what I was chasing. I had some really top end Côte de Beaune Chardonnays, which were really pleasant. But then I went to the Chardonnay, and oh my god, it was a revelation. I love the Chardonnay. I love the Massenet, the Pur Fumé. But I love Chardonnay. Chardonnay is like really Mercury, and there's only really 5 villages to remember. Really Mercury. The Rouly one was just so beautiful, so good, such good oak, such good winemaking, such great grapes, such beautiful wine. It was just awesome. But I have to say, Côte de Nuit, particularly I really enjoyed Gevrey Chambertin, and the other one was Alice Cortin. Both of those ones were just fantastic Pinots. Anyway, I think that's enough for talking to the public. I think we'll just have to drink these now, and we'll review these old world wines again.
No more,
Anyway.
I'm taking that red.
You're taking it. Oh, okay, rightio. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.
See you later.
Nice red.